Thank you very much. First, let me say how much of a pleasure it is to be here in this historic church. This church has some serious history when you think about Washington and Frederick Douglass and the history of black people, and so it's always great to be here. I also want to thank Ron Daniels and IBW for organizing. Ron is the trooper, and one thing I can always say about him, he stays the course. And he was one of the first people I encountered when I started to do what I'm doing, and he's still doing it, and he's doing it with class, and everything he does is top shelf. I just never seen him drop the ball, and so you deserve a great deal of credit, Ron, for what you're doing. I also want to acknowledge President Perez. I was in Tunisia 2 years ago when he received the Mo Ibrahim Prize for leadership, and wonderful. He's not only important to us, he's really important to the globe because all of Africa is really looking at the Cape Verdean example in terms of governance and democracy. And so, you're doing something right when you get those kinds of awards, when you get a Millennium Challenge grant, when you get the Mo Ibrahim. Those guys are tough. Mo Ibrahim hasn't given an award for since then. This year they decided they're not giving anybody the award because nobody's worthy of the acknowledgement. So the fact that he's here and the fact that he's with us really is significant. So I want to congratulate him for his outstanding job. Now to Ron and to Mr. Chairman, I don't know what I did wrong to be the last person on the panel. How do you follow these guys, what does you have to say after Amir Woods? I would say, why me, And punishment, because a lot of the things I really wanted to say have already been said, so I'm not going to belabor the point. Wally, I'm really pleased to meet you. I've been following you for years, and appreciate your work, and so I'm looking forward to having an in-depth discussion about how we might cooperate in coordination going forward. I always like to get one or two good contacts coming out of such meetings, and I find if you can actually build the link right there and make it happen, the work goes up tremendously. I represent an organization called Constituency for Africa. We're 24 years old. Our mission is to educate the public about Africa, improve cooperation, coordination among African people, and help shape U.S. policies. Therefore, we're real specific in what we do. I see myself as a Pan-Africanist. Some say I should be wearing more African garb, stop wearing the European neckties, but that's what Dr. Jeffrey says. But, I still see myself as a Pan-Africanist. But I think in order to do this work, we have to take different approaches, Mine is really to talk to the State Department. I work with the State Department. Talk to the World Bank, the evil empire. I work with the evil empire, get money from them. IMF, because I think you got to nudge them a little bit. I think the job that we as the diaspora in Washington, our job is to move the policymakers, I talk to my brother over in the White House every once in a while, the brother from the diaspora, Barack Obama, and help to shape some of his policy initiatives in Africa, the Young African Leaders Initiative, the reach to the diaspora as a strategy for development, and so CFA's mission is not so much to carry the flag, but we actually try to make some things happen for Africa people, worldwide. I work closely with Africa Union. Ambassador Ali is a close friend, and I've been working closely with her from the first day she got to Washington, And I believe I was the first person to actually meet with her when she came to office in Washington. She really opened up. Now, when you think about opening the Africa Union office in Washington, Marcus Garvey was smiling on that day. Kwame Nkrumah was laughing, saying, yes, black power, because we finally made a breakthrough in Washington by having Ambassador Ali with us. So I work with Africa Union. I was in South Africa for the diaspora summit with James Early and Dr. Jeffries and several others here to really actually shape what it means to be the sixth region. It's more than just calling yourself diaspora. It's more than just saying we're the sixth region. There's some responsibility to go along with that, and there's some projects that go along with that. Right now, the Africa Union is limited to launch 5, they call them legacy projects for the diaspora. And one of the projects my organization has taken the lead on called the Global Diaspora Marketplace. And the aim is to get diaspora to invest in projects in Africa, use innovation, use technology, from here to actually impact on development in Africa. We did a project over the last year or so here in the United States called the African Diaspora Marketplace. Now we've been tasked to make it global. So you're thinking about Brazil, you're thinking about Europe, you're thinking about Australia. You find out that there's black people all over the world. How you do it, what is the communication apparatus? We're still trying to work out some of those modalities. The other projects include a volunteer corps that's being run by a group out of Canada called CUSO. But the ideal is people want to go to Africa to work as share their medical expertise or share their education expertise, or really to volunteer. So what is the strategy to make that happen? So the second project is the volunteer corps. There's a Remittance Institute, and how do you channel these remittances back to Africa in a way that promotes sustainable development? The World Bank is doing that one direct. There's this investment fund, that will allow those of us in the diaspora actually to make investment. We talked about the rates of return in Africa. Absolutely right. But how do we do it in a way that we can make a profit over here and invest our money rather than to invest in some kind of power plant in Utah? Maybe we can invest it in Ethiopia or Ghana or Nigeria, So this other one is this investment instrument. And then the fifth one is a database, a professional a skills database for the diaspora. And so you got all this talent among the diaspora at the highest level. You got groups like the African Scientific Institute. You got the National Medical Association. You got all this the National Society of Black Engineers who are actually building up this country, But yeah, how do we actually recognize this? How do we use it in a way that can help channel the technical expertise to Africa? So we're very much in the process of putting those projects together. We had a technical review a couple months ago. There was a meeting in New York last week to further the process. And I think, it's going to be tough, because a lot of times black folks, we like to leave it at the rhetoric level. We like to leave it at the talk level. How you move it from the talk to the action is the challenge, And I can guarantee you that it's not going to be an easy struggle, but I'm encouraged by it. Amir talked about the land grabbing, the issues in Africa. When I look at the issues in Africa, I see the same issues in Washington, D.C., the same issues in Harlem, Land grabbing, come on, you don't have to go all the way over to Africa to see land grabbing. Go over to Anacostia, see what's happening. Resource grabbing, this is a global issue, so when we think about Africa, we got to stop thinking about Africa as only that place that look like, Africa where African people are at. And a lot of the same things that are affecting Africans in Africa are affecting us here, be it HIV/AIDS, be it immigration policies, all of this is something that we, let me say something about black Americans, African Americans. There are 7 categories of Africans that populate the United States. I've done my research too. After I was on a panel last week at Howard that Dr. Jeffries led, and everybody on the panel had a PhD but me. I felt like how am I supposed to? So I went back and did some research, Dr. Jeffries, and I found out that there are 7 categories of Africans that populate the United States. The largest one are African Americans, those of us who came by way of the belly of the slave ship, Then there are the African immigrants, those who came by airplane. You got Africans from the Caribbean. You got Afro-Latinos from Brazil and the South. You got the children of African immigrants. Their parents might be Nigerian, but they were born here, And then you got children from the Caribbean who also were born here, regardless of the Jamaican or Trinidadian or Barbadian, Bajan parentage, they are African Americans. Then the 7th category are African, professional Africans, like the ambassadors, like Ambassador Ali, like the World Bank people. They're official. Now, all 7 of these categories look at this country different. All 7 of them look at diaspora different, and there's a lot of diversity among them. There's nothing monolithic about them whatsoever. And so one of the things that we try to do as an organization is try to harmonize a little bit, not to get everybody to agree, but to at least get everybody to understand we have a common platform by which we can approach some of this development. So, one thing about black Americans, we have to really recognize that we're the wealthiest black people in the world, We're dropping out of school, throwing away food, The biggest problem we have is obesity, too many calories, too much food, And, I say in America, this is the only place you can actually go and, you just go and go to jail and get 3 meals a day, I mean, I'm not going to starve in America. You want some water? Just push a button anywhere, clean water, So over at Howard, they made some recommendations about the next steps. And we do have to, we'll talk about the next generation. I looked around this room, and the majority of us are gray-haired, right? And, here they have, talking about Africa 50 years from now. We ain't even going to be here. We ain't even going to be here, And so half of this room really should be some young people, 20, 25 years old, who are actually going to inherit this leadership that we're projecting here, And so we got to do more than just talk about the young people. They need to be sitting right here, learning from us, contributing to us, understanding how this actually means to them, because they're going to actually have to carry the ball going forward. But one idea that I suggested at Howard was that Howard, this is under Ron Walters, the new Ron Walters Institute, but let's have an annual town meeting on Africa at Howard. Howard's supposed to be the Mecca. Have an annual town meeting, invite all the other schools here to bring ambassadors and so forth. So you can start talking about projecting your career, project about how you're going to have this impact, and bring some reality to it. I think the biggest challenge is to educate Americans about Africa, Most Americans are uneducated, undereducated, or miseducated when it comes to Africa. Not just black Americans, we need to educate all Americans. I would like to see a few white folks in the room myself, We over here thinking that Africa is only devoted to black-skinned people. Africa is the cradle of civilization. And so we ought to be the vanguard here, but bringing all of Americans to support and understand and coordinate with Africa. So I'm going to leave here, but it's great to be here for sure, and wonderful panel around as usual, and I look forward to the further discussion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back the remainder of my time.